Step one.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Tom, it's just a tough subject. A recent study by Brown University showed that nearly 450 children are killed each year by their parents.
My daughters were picked up on a Friday by their father to spend the weekend, and that night he pumped carbon monoxide into their bedroom and slit their throats.
Searches have begun for two children killed by their mother in Hopkins County.
9-year-old Hayden King was laid to rest today. Hayden's 4-year-old sister Harper will have a celebration of life service tomorrow morning.
Here's a story that's breaking at 6 o'clock. It's all centered around the three people you see on your screen. The key pieces in a Middletown murder case.
On the left is James Hutchinson. Police say the 6-year-old was killed allegedly by his own mother.
East Los Angeles mother was charged today with killing her 3 young children. The youngest was less than 2 months old.
At 6 with breaking news.
Good evening to you, friends. Greg Merriweather along with Elizabeth Vow. Our top story today, that precious little 2-year-old right now. 2 people are facing charges accused of murdering little Nevaeh Allen. Investigators found the 2-year-old dead in Mississippi after several days of searching.
One of those blamed in her death, the girl's mother, Lanaya Cardwell.
Hi, Bullhorn Betty. Thank you for my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Well, hello, my beautiful people of YouTube. I hope you guys are doing well. Me and crime-fighting Delilah. She is tuckered out, but she is all dolled up for the occasion. We just got the new collar in. Look at that. It's so cute. It's so cute. But she started shivering, so I had to put the blanket on her. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. We do have a special guest that should be here right about 8:15 this evening. So before we get started, I wanted to make sure that we understand absolutely the rules of the chat. First and foremost, this is my channel. I'm not a click and view type of chick, okay? It's not my cup of tea. I'm thankful that all of you are here, but I do have rules and regulations for being in the chat. Anybody can watch anytime, any place, but Chatting in my on my channel is a privilege. It is not a right. And so we have rules, and the only rule we have is to be respectful for one another, be respectful for other content creators in the chat, and more importantly, any person that is up on my panel, I expect you guys to act like adults and that God gave you some common sense. Okay? You're not going to be rude to my guests. So as long as everybody can do that, we shouldn't have any problems in the chat. If we need to slow the chat, please let me know. I'll defer to my mods, or the mods doing so far. Okay, should we slow the chat now before we get started? What are your thoughts? I just want to find out. We ask for respect. We got so many people in here, I can't even pull that up. We ask for respect for everyone. Thank you. We won't tolerate hateful comments toward anyone in chat. That is absolutely correct. Now, this is a place where do as I say, not as I do. Again, this is my channel, so if I get a little nasty, that's for me and for me to do, okay? I expect you guys to follow the rules of the chat. We understand that sometimes these type of conversations get a little heated, a little emotional. We understand that, so I want everybody just to mind their P's and Q's. We do have a special guest that is going to come up here. This is a little different than an interview that we've done previously, and I really think, slow it down. Okay, give me just a second. All right, so chat has been officially slowed down. Again, I just expect everybody to be very respectful of the guests that we're going to have. Some of the conversations, again, I understand that typically on any other channel you might be able to get away with a lot. Here, we just expect no Richards, okay? That really is. If you don't know what that means, it means don't be a dick, okay? All right, so that's kind of your rules, all right? You really only have one rule to follow, and it's don't be a Richard. So please, let's all get along and chat, and let's make this the best and welcome our guest that is coming. Thank you for all the new members. I do appreciate that. Let's get on to the details of this case while we wait for the guest to arrive. So Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers disappeared on paper. So the records show that he disappeared between midnight and 6 a.m. on February 26, 2024. However, there is only a proof of life video that shows him on February 25th, which is the Sunday before. Thank you, Sonina. One gifted Bullhorn Betty membership has been received. If you were the recipient of that, please don't forget to tell Sonina. Thank you. And it was the Texas Roadhouse video around 6:30 is really the last confirmed sighting of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So I just want to make sure that that fact is known to everyone. Sebastian went home, allegedly went to bed. Mom gets up at 6 a.m. in the morning, and he is nowhere to be found. They immediately call 911. Well, I keep saying 911, but they immediately call law enforcement. We all know that 911 was not called. And the rest is history. The cavalry comes in. They do a massive search. They can't decide how he got out of the home. They have no scent from the dogs. The parents, in some cases, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, which there shouldn't be an aisle, but there is, and we all know it, you believe that one or all of the people have been odd. Red flags. I personally see red flags, you know, when it comes to the mom and the stepfather for a variety of reasons. We've been discussing those variety of reasons in our daily chat. So I'm not going to reiterate all of those talking points, but what I will say, and what we all do know, is that the story has been modified at least on 3 separate occasions. That is a problem for me. Statements made after the fact on other podcasters, channels kind of contradict information as we know it. So we have really been very diligent in trying to find out the answers to these questions. Unfortunately, you guys know what has happened to me. I am fighting it, and I truly believe it is related to the work that I'm doing in this case, not my commentary at the least. I think it's the work that we've been doing. We've been submitting a lot of stuff over to the team, which ultimately, if it checks out, moves on to law enforcement. This channel has been producing some leads. I just want everybody to understand that. And I'm very thankful for the people that reach out to me. And if you have any information, any thoughts, any theories, any ideas of places to search, you're more than welcome to reach out to bullhornbetty@gmail.com. If you have any information directly related, firsthand information directly related to Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, I'm going to ask you to reach out to either the Memphis FBI or 833-TELL-DOG. TELL-DOG is a way to generate leads. Those leads get verified, vetted, and if they are legitimate, get sent over, from my understanding, to law enforcement. So no matter how you look at this, things are moving, leads are coming in, and those are being handed over to law enforcement. I was very hopeful when Dog came in because he was saying a lot of the stuff that quite frankly rang well in my ears. Hey guys, it's nice to see you. All of my mods, I just want to take a moment before I go too much further. I just want to say thank you to all my mods. I have some of the best mods, I believe, on this platform, and they really do a lot of great work. They not only do great work at modding on this channel, but just a lot of the philanthropy that they do when these lights are turned off. Sonia, she has a shirt shop, customized shirt. Please consider her. We have Team Sebastian Strong, Team Foul Play. What she does is every time you get a package, buy a shirt from her, you also get flyers for missing persons in those. She also donates shirts to families to wear whenever they're searching for their loved one. Sonia really does amazing work with her shirt shop, and I just want to make sure that we point that out. Also, the rest of my mods, when we first started this case, was up with me 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, working literally around the clock. We had very little sleep when this case was breaking. We were searching over maps, we were theorizing, we were going over every stitch of information, and that was a lot of hard work. That's what allows me, that's what allows me to be able to think so quickly on my toes when we're covering this case, because I have all the details that are known to the public. And we discuss those regularly and have for 6 months. That is what makes this such a great network of people. This true crime genre on these platforms can do a lot of great things if we just allow them to do what they are meant to do, and that is to advocate for these children. But we also discuss the case, and this is where a lot of people feel jaded, so to speak, because we do discuss the case, and sometimes the leads just lead where they lead. There's nothing we can do to control that, unless we change the narrative and throw away the leads. Okay? At the end of the day, it's not our fault that the information is leading one way or another. But we do try very hard to make sure that the factual information that we're relying on to assess these cases and to come up with our theory are corroborated facts. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that, because I feel with the misinformation and disinformation campaigns, the people that are out here really working hard to get the facts out are being silenced by the overwhelming amount of drama and garbage, quite frankly, lies, flat out lies, not even conjecture, not even could be, would be, should be, just flat out lies with no factual basis whatsoever, other than to smear an innocent father and his spokesman. We are here because of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. This beautiful face right here and right here. This is why we're all here. This is why we have 2,083 people in this show right now, is because everybody is here for Sebastian. We're doing a few initiatives in honor of Sebastian that many of you guys can help with if you would like. So we're lighting it up green, okay? This is really taken off. This is really something that I didn't realize would get so big. And I don't know if it has anything to do with why Amazon is back ordered on green bulbs. And somebody reached out to me and said Amazon's back ordered. I don't know. But we're lighting it up green. So what people are doing is they're buying green light bulbs and other types of green lights and displaying them around their house in honor of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And let me tell you guys something. We are lighting it up green all over the world. I have confirmation of at least 3 or 4 different countries that are lighting it up green for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. So please, 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 it doesn't matter whether you like me. It doesn't matter whether you like any of the parents. If you're here, if you're truly here for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers and you want to know how you can help, but you can't get out, you can't come for searches, this economy kind of sucks, so it's not, it's hard rubbing nickels together. Everybody can afford one green light bulb. So please, please, please consider getting some green lights and displaying them for Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And if you'd really like to, please post the photo. Either send it to me by email at bullhornbetty@gmail.com or send it, post it in the Justice for Sebastian Rogers group or Bullhorn Betty True Crime group. That's what we're doing right now. You will be amazed how many people are absolutely honoring this boy wherever he is. So if that's what you would like to do, that is just some things. Now, another one of our members has also been doing an amazing job. He or she, I don't know if it's a male or female, but they actually are printing out 100 flyers and they are sending those to businesses in and around Tennessee. And it's Freebird. So I saw Freebird in here. Thank you for the great idea. And I know that it's not for everyone, okay? But, if you have the ability and you want to help, that's a great way to help. Print out 100 flyers. Divvy them up. One business doesn't need 8 to 10 flyers, okay? But send a few flyers to businesses in and around the Hendersonville area and give them a nice letter and ask them if they would be so kind to post his photo up and let people know going into their establishment that there's a missing boy in their area. You'll be amazed at how many people will step up to the plate, how many people will keep their eyes out. Many people are flooding my email. People are starting to see the billboards. I just wanted to say that there are a lot of billboards. There are several different creators that are putting billboards up. Now, I don't know which billboard goes to who or who to thank, but everybody needs to be thanking all the creators that have been working on the billboards, because the billboards have been noticed. Several people from all over the country have sent me emails saying they saw a digital billboard. So, thank you for all the creators, even the ones I don't really agree with or like, thank you. I don't have to agree to like someone for someone to actually do good, right? So hopefully that momentum keeps going. And if that's the case, we'll all be, good. So anyways, we are going to be waiting for our guests to show up, which I expect our guests to be arriving at any moment. And this is what it's about. We're talking about Sebastian Rogers. We're going to be talking about some information that we may not know, pry just a little bit, peek under the hood with our exclusive interviewee. And I think you guys will get a lot out of it. And again, I hope for everybody that's here, you guys be ultra respectful. I'm really pleased to see all the green in the chat right now. Thank you guys. This is what it's all about. Make sure if you've heard something, even if it's secondhand, reach out to somebody and let them know who that is. So without further ado, guys, we're going to go ahead and bring up our panel guest, and I'm going to have her introduce herself to you guys. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully we get a little bit out of this, and we'll chat about it after we're done with the interview. Well, hello, my dear. How are you doing?
Hi, Betty. I'm fine.
Wonderful. So I just want to tell you thank you. I know that this is very hard for you. And I just want you to kind of introduce yourself to everybody, if you don't mind.
So I did a post. My name is Yada. I am part of Katie's Rosenbaum family, a very large family. Yes, I am her biological mom's cousin. And from the beginning, when I found out Sebastian was missing, I have been watching this crazy carnival. And it has been so upsetting.
Yeah, I can only imagine how upsetting something like this, especially everything you've heard, can be. Explain. So you did explain, you're the cousin to her mother.
Yes.
And what prompted you to make that post? I know that you've been a good contributor in the chat, and I know you've been kind of keeping a low profile, and I personally know there's been a few things that have upset you, but this particular post it seemed a little deeper. What prompted you to make the post? And I'm just going to read it in just a moment after you answer this question.
Well, like I said, I've been watching this from the very beginning. And it's interview after interview. The stories kept changing. And I got an email. A private message from a couple of my cousins after a picture was posted. And a lot of horrible things are being said about our family. And I will defend my family to my death.
Right.
But then I kept seeing this story change, and my heart just kept sinking every time I heard it. Changing. And I didn't want to believe that there was any capability of that happening.
Hold on just a second. I think we're having some echoing. Is it? Well, that's okay. I just fixed it. They said that it fixed. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
And every time the story changed, my heart would sink. And I was in a lot of Facebook groups, and anytime I would go and chat, I would see these comments, and I would ask, what makes you say that? Or, well, tell me why you're saying that. And anytime I had something different to say, I even had one gentleman, I say gentleman, and I'm going to say that politely because I am not here for any hate, tell me, do not ever come to Hendersonville. Don't ever come to Tennessee. And I asked him, why do you say that? And he's like, trust me. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I have some friends on my Facebook now who actually saw that. And I'm like, wow. And what is going on? And at that time I kept watching catching little snippets of different YouTube creators, and I'm hearing all this hate towards Seth, and then I'm hearing a lot of comments that Chris is making, and I'm really paying attention. I'm taking notes, and I have a very, very large family who
Express
usually,
how when people hear how large your family is, tell us how large your family is.
we are over 120 just on the Rosenbaum side.
Just for clarification for everybody, because sometimes large families are 20 or 30. I mean,
Oh,
I
no,
want to make sure
no.
we put that into context.
When my grandmother died, my granny, and I'm the only one named after her, there was something like 49 grandchildren, 39 great grandchildren, 30 some great grandchildren, and it's been growing ever since. So we are over 100 strong.
Wow. So let me just take a little moment. I'm just going to read this post so everybody knows what post I'm referring to. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this is what she posted on the Justice for Sebastian Facebook group. It says, "This will be my last post, and I hope everyone reading this will understand why. Since the beginning, I struggled with the thought that a member of my very own family could ever do something as heinous as getting rid of their child. Like every single YouTuber was saying. Then I watched this interview. Sorry, it's a little blurry, and became a skeptic. Then the second interview and felt sick. The third interview, all doubt was gone. I had held hope, maybe an accident. Then she left town saying he could be anywhere now. Blood relative only holds so much hope and faith, and I couldn't pray this feeling away. Months later, so many lies, YouTube creators flipping the script as if they're threatened. No way, I thought. They never wanted a single vigil. They never went to a single vigil, couldn't find time for searches, lied on a Sumner County custody position, fully cleared by LE and in no danger or threat. She seemed to love her summer with someone else's child, forgetting her own. Now, anyone who's steadfast in finding Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers is met with threats, fake profile harassment, and legal action, gag orders, First Amendment rights stripped. Every day I truly feel like I wanted to apologize, but every day I wanted to scream at every state and federal representative for the state of Tennessee and ask them, can you not see what's happening in this county? What mother steals her missing child's name out of the mouth of people who want him found? Why is nothing being done about the threats to the people searching? Then I want to ask my extended family, why are you all so quiet? Do you think this is okay? I don't. If you did nothing wrong, prove us wrong. Let people search without fear, hang flyers without getting police called on them, and show his name and picture. Stop spending your time and money in court on lawyers silencing people over lies. Let people help bring him home. Otherwise, tell us what happened." That was pretty emotional.
I cried for days before I wrote that. And
That was pretty emotional. And your family has been, for the most part, silenced. Is there a reason? I mean, I know that most of your family had already previously been doxxed.
yeah. And even though they were doxxed, I mean, my family is normally not quiet. So I'm actually surprised I haven't been getting a lot of response from them. But,
Go ahead.
I have seen posts on other pages, questioning who I am. Trust me, I am who I am. I am who I say I am. I have receipts.
Yes,
But
yes. You don't need to produce your receipts on here, but
no.
she's produced receipts. So, and
But
just for clarification, so everybody knows, you haven't really seen Katie in a while, correct?
I have not seen her since her grandfather, my Uncle Don, died. And that was in 2015. And
I heard, go ahead.
I did get to meet sweet Sebastian then.
Aw. And I did hear that was her favorite uncle. Can you give me a little?
That was her favorite grandfather. That was her
Or grandfather,
grandfather.
not uncle. That's right. You corrected me on that once before. Can you give us a little bit of family history? We want to be respectful, but just to give a little history. Give me just a second. I've got it on here. Just want to explore um, the history, who you are to Katie. Oh, we already did that, and explore your new unique relationship with Katie, where she was born, how close the family was, just some family dynamic stuff, if you don't mind.
When she was born, she was not around the family. Her mother was married in West Virginia, and it she did not come to our side of the family until she was like 8 or 9ish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, gosh, her grandma and grandfather, they doted over her.
Very protective of her as well, too.
Yes, she was a very coddled person. And everybody in the family, anytime we saw my Uncle Don and Aunt Suzanne, how's Katie? How's Katie? Because, she wasn't with them long. She went to live with her dad. And I know everybody says her Aunt Penny, but it was in between her dad and her Aunt Penny, David Payne and her Aunt Penny, but mostly with her dad, David. And we would always ask, how's Katie? How's Katie? Oh, she's doing great. Oh, she's doing great. And, when she graduated, I had lived in North Carolina next to her, and was and still am very close to her aunt and uncle there. I remember my Uncle Don and Aunt Suzanne came in town to visit, and it was right when Katie graduated, and she was going to culinary school, and she was a chef at a really nice restaurant at the Virginia Beach oceanfront. And she's doing great, but that was a really hard time in her life. There was a lot going on at that time when she was 17, before she turned 18. And it had nothing to do with Seth.
Gotcha. That was my next question is, did you ever know or know about Seth?
No, she had a boyfriend that wasn't Seth.
Gotcha. How about Chris? Did you ever know about Chris or ever meet Chris?
No. After she moved away, she had left, and she had Sebastian when she was 19.
Right.
But they were married by then. And
Closer to 20, right?
yeah, closer to 20. But and Seth got permission from my Uncle Don to marry her.
Gotcha.
And I will tell you, my Uncle Don is a very religious, honorable man.
Yeah. What was your back in the day whenever you saw Katie? Did you want to explore on that a little bit more about the uncle? And did you have any other information like, how did he, I guess if maybe how did Seth approach your uncle to ask him for Katie's hand in marriage?
I don't know exactly how it happened, but the fact that he did it, and let me put it this way. The fact that my Uncle Don gave his permission, I will tell you, means a lot.
Gotcha.
Because of my Uncle Don's very strong faith in his religion and his love of God, he would not have given just any Joe Schmo permission to marry Katie. Katie was very much, I want to say, his pride and joy.
What was your fondest memory of Katie?
I think when she first got there, I think because it was, and I don't want to go into, what happened,
Right.
and,
Yeah, we're not going to touch that subject.
No, and it has nothing to do with this. But she was a cute little girl. Just, even at, 8, 9 years old, she was just a cute little strawberry blonde. She was, and kind of, she was headstrong. Don't get me wrong, headstrong. But she had
That's a good character. That's a good character, and a person. I personally like headstrong people at times. Sometimes not so much.
it's a Rosenbaum trait. I will tell you that much.
Gotcha.
8 out of 10 of them headstrong. But she was just the cutest thing, even for an 8, 9-year-old. She was spoiled. I don't, I don't think there was ever anything she asked for that she didn't get, and knew how to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But we would, like I said, we would get updates and stuff, and occasionally, Aunt Suzanne or somebody would say, well, she wants this, and we'll make sure she gets it. But no, they couldn't say no.
Right.
It was, everybody would, you would catch people say, oh, poor Katie,
Mm-hmm.
but she knew it. She always, as she got older, she knew what she wanted, and she wasn't gonna. She's just gonna do what she wants.
Gotcha. And
She graduated very well. From what I understand, she was a great cook, but she wasn't a bonding person, except for now with her grandpa, my Uncle Don, and my Aunt Suzanne, and like her uncle and aunt in North Carolina. And I'm not going to name any names, but she was very close to them. There was a little thing that happened right about the time her and Seth got married that was going on, another rift in the family, but which is why I never met Seth, because he did not come to to my Uncle Don's funeral, but they were still married.
Gotcha. Is that when that's when she brought Sebastian, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and what was Sebastian's demeanor meeting new people for the first time?
He was a cute little smiley thing, but not the kind that would come up and go to strangers.
Mm-hmm.
But he knew, like, my aunt, and he knew Francis, and which kind of shocked me. But so the people that he did know, he would go with them, and we would be introduced. And I was only at that particular day, I was only there for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. But God, he was cute. But there wasn't a lot of mother son kind of, oh, come here, baby. And it wasn't that. It was like, but there was a lot of people coming and going, and I think that was a lot of overstimulation.
Gotcha.
But I know he hadn't been diagnosed, but you could tell he was bothered. But still,
Bothered by the strange people, by the overwhelming crowd, or both?
We're 100 strong, coming and going. This is in their house in Chesapeake, coming and going, coming and going, coming and going. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, especially to a kid that's not accustomed to that coming and going.
And he was like 7.5, maybe 7-ish. This is in May of 2015 when he died. So yeah, that's a lot of stimulation for a young kid, especially when they didn't know fully what was going on. I don't think he had been fully diagnosed at that point.
Now, your family had been doxxed, and I know that a lot still being doxxed, and I know a lot of some of the there were a lot of incorrect allegations that had come out about your family early on in this case. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
Now, did you want to clarify that here, or no? I forgot to ask you.
Well, we were There were
Because
some people.
it kind of goes into the other stuff, so I was
Yeah, it
unsure.
does. Well,
Yeah.
there were some people that, when the picture of Grandfather Mountain came out, there was some people in a particular group that started doxing all of the women in the Rosenbaum family, including Katie's biological mother, and even my mother, who was 77 and was in intensive care, who had just had a heart attack, who looked nothing like this woman on Grandfather Mountain. Her aunt in North Carolina, my cousin in another part of North Carolina. I mean, they were pulling private photos, they were posting addresses, putting them on this fake, well, she looks like her. And they would literally, at one point, they went to the mother's house, some of these people that lived in that area, and police had to be called. And that's when I got the message. And like I said, I will fight tooth and nail for my family if we are being wronged. And I sent a private message to the administrator and notified them that this was private and not for public dissemination. This is a cease and desist. Look, you can say what you want to on the investigation, but our family has nothing to do with it. What you find out about Chris and Katie or Seth, or if you find anything about Sebastian, help yourself, but stop with this. And after my post, it started all over again.
Gotcha. And then, there were rumors. We're going to get into the conversation here in just a moment about, where you were, how, when you learned about the whole situation. But I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. I asked you because there were rumors going around that it's possible that someone in your family is holding Sebastian, either against his will, willingly, but is helping, the mom, hide Sebastian from Seth. Do you know anybody in your family that has Sebastian or is hiding Sebastian in any way?
No, I do not. And if I did know, I would be the first to call the FBI or dog. And if I ever caught wind of it, I would be the first to call.
Right.
Because he needs to be back. But
Absolutely. Now, Francis was one, for a fact Sebastian is not with Francis. Am I correct about that? Or what would you like to say about that?
well, I know for a fact he was not there in June. Because there was somebody else there in June and he was not there in June. So, and I do not believe for 1 second. Well, you know what? I do not know for a fact, and I'm not going to say I know for a fact because I don't. Do I think he would be there? No, because Suzanne lives there and she wouldn't be so desperate to find him.
Gotcha. And she's been working to try to find information.
Yeah. She misses her great grandson.
Right. Is there anything about your history, about your aunts, uncles, your family dynamic that we didn't cover? Because I'm going to be moving forward into, fast forwarding to Sebastian here in just a moment. But I want to make sure that I cover everything that you would like to talk about the history. I don't want to pry too much because of the sensitive nature of some of the stuff that you know about. So I just, want to check your comfort level.
Well, I know after this conversation, everybody's going to be doing all kinds of searches and everything because I've seen what gets done. Nobody's family is perfect. My family is far from perfect. And, search what you want, say what you want. We grew up loving each other. And like all families, You have tiffs, you walk away, you come back, you do your thing. And there are some bad elements in our family. There are some wonderful elements in our family. But no matter what, no matter how distant we are, we will come together if something is wrong. I will say this too, this is the quietest my family has ever been about anything.
I don't mean to pry, but why do you think?
I can't figure it out. I mean, honestly, when I did that post, I was expecting to get bombarded. You know, what are you doing? Why are you, or even something. I've not heard a peep.
Right.
And I know they're on Facebook. I know they're seeing this. Some of them could be in the chat.
Right.
But I have, my parents have not heard anything. I have not heard anything. And I'm honestly shocked because I am not here to hate anybody. I am here for people to focus on finding Sebastian. Stop hating everybody. Stop this mess. You know, there's too much clutter in all of this. There's a little boy, whether he be alive or not, who deserves to be in the right place. And he is a part of my blood. And that's what matters to me. And that's what should matter to everyone with the same last name I have. But I'm not seeing it from the mother. And that's so disheartening because and I wish I could say I did. I truly, I've tried, I've prayed. And so many lies online. Just, oh.
Have you seen her behave this way ever in the past?
The fake tears. Yeah. She is, what I see is someone on a mission. Get what I want, no matter what. And in my opinion, and that's what I recognize. And I see hate, which is scary. And I don't like that. And I can see it. You know, I've seen photos of her that were shared with, from Don and Suzanne and from aunts and uncles of her, just so happy and just super beautiful. And that's not her.
I have to agree because I saw some photos of her that Seth had shown me, and wow, what a night and day difference.
That is not her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she is not defenseless, and she is not the controlling type. This whole thing is twisted.
So the facade of her, there's a lot of people that believe that she's kind of this, a battered wife that doesn't speak for herself, is kind of, the impression many people have expressed.
I'm not believing that. She is a strong person. Do I believe she has after effects or probably some issues from years ago? Absolutely. who wouldn't?
Right.
But I don't think there are issues in the way of, I think there are more issues of temper.
Gotcha. But you yourself have never seen her.
I guess the word is manipulative.
Gotcha. Do you want to explore that a little more, or would you just like to
I'll
leave
just
that?
leave that.
Now we're going to just forward to Sebastian just a little bit. When did you hear Sebastian went missing or down? Did you want to explain a little bit about that?
No family called us. No one in the family called us. And she just mentioned it. I'm like, who? And then she sent it in to my mom, and I told her, Dan must have posted something. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, nobody told us.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started researching it. And I was like, oh, why did nobody say anything? Why is this so private?
Right.
No, we were not. It was not. And you, like I said, normally when something happens in this family, you know, somebody has their home phone in one hand and their cell phone in the other. And it's like a game of, what is that pillow talk or whatever, where it's like going through the whole chain.
Mm-hmm.
No, phones didn't ring.
When did you learn about it from the end? Was it days, weeks, months?
It was about a month. It was after the first couple of interviews, and that's I had to go back and watch them because I had been chatting with her. It was probably mid-March.
Mm-hmm.
No, late March.
Wow.
Because we were talking about some events that go on here where I live, and me possibly taking a trip down there. It was late March, yeah.
So a whole half of the family was completely in the dark about a missing relative for well
Yeah.
over a month to well over a month.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how the aunt heard about it? Was it through another family member, or did they just
Well, she's
learn
close.
about it?
She's the one that's very close to her.
Oh, wow. And so it still took that long for her to find out?
No, I think she knew the whole time, but it wasn't advertised.
Got it.
And that's when I
Gotcha.
immediately started getting the messages about being doxxed and stuff as well. It was like a week or two later. I can't
Gotcha.
remember. No, it was
Wow.
in May, the first week of May, when I think that picture came out late April. And it
Mm-hmm.
was the first week of May when, oh Lord, because my mom had been in the hospital.
That is so sad. I'm sorry to hear that. How's your mom doing?
My mom is fine, thank you. We almost lost her. She spent several days in CCU and ICU, and it was a mess, but she is home fine and doing well.
Oh, well, that's at least some good news. And I think you've already kind of went over us about your initial thoughts about what you heard, because you just wanted to get as much information about it as possible once you heard it. It sounds like you were doing, what kind of due diligence did you do? Maybe I should ask it a different way.
Oh,
What kind of research did you do when you learned of Sebastian's disappearance?
well, first I went onto Facebook, and at that time, you know, there really wasn't a whole lot, but there was some. So then I started Googling it, and I started looking. It kept sending me to YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
and every channel, because I subscribe to all of them, and I was listening to every one of them, and I was like, what is this mess? You know, what? And then I just turned them all off, and I found the interviews, and I started with the first one.
Now, was that the Duchess interview
The
or the
Duchess
green
one.
shirt interview? You did watch that one.
I watched the Duchess one.
See, I didn't watch that until later. The only time I went back is when Steve Johnson on the interview room said, because he did the green shirt one, he's like, you really want to find the oldest interview. And I remember hearing about it, but I didn't hear the Duchess interview for months.
Oh, that's the first one I watched.
Gotcha.
And
What were your thoughts on that one?
My thoughts on all of them, and initially my first thought was, why is he talking so much? And a couple of times he blurted like, no, we would have heard that, or we would have, and I'm like, he said, I thought he wasn't there. And I had to keep rewinding, and I'm like, okay, let me go on to the next one. And the rocking back and forth and the no tears, and I'm like,
So
okay.
now we're on the green shirt interview.
Now we're going to the green shirt. And then the
that
whole
was the first time you got to see her body behavior, her facial expressions, and everything like that. Now go ahead.
And also the first change of the chain of events. And I caught that immediately, and I'm like, wait a second. And then I went back to the first, and I'm like, okay, this is a child with a chromosome disorder who's just spent this crazy day, and you go in there to wake him up early, but he's gone to dinner. You're talking about how he doesn't like to be clean. He likes to be clean, or doesn't clean himself or whatever. And he's a 15-year-old boy. You never mentioned a bath. You never mentioned medication. You just told him to go to bed. So you send him to school dirty, and wait, okay, let's go to the next interview. And then it changed.
You caught that too. See, it took me a little while before I realized that. If you noticed, I've only started talking about that since I think May or June.
Well, I had a son that needed medication, and overstimulation during the day and bathing had to be done at night, because in the morning that was an impossibility. And after a weekend, and especially a day like that, that would be a necessity, because 15-year-old boys sweat a lot and they do not smell pretty.
And I don't see him getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning and going.
That's not enough time to have breakfast, take a bath, and
right. I mean, boys just don't do that.
No, they don't. But I mean, I'm just thinking these things as a mother when my son was 15, who had some issues. And I'm thinking, okay. And in one interview that she had mentioned that when he's not home, the dogs sleep with her. And then that changed completely. And I'm like writing these things down. I'm like, this is not jiving. I'm like, no, I'm not going to believe this. I'm not going there. I refuse. But he still kept controlling everything.
Yeah, what made you decide to look into this deeply? Because he was a relative of yours and you just wanted to help?
Because I wanted to help. I wanted him found. I wanted him found for my Aunt Suzanne. I wanted him found for Katie. And then so I was digging. I'm like, okay, what can I find out that would help them? So I started with the interviews, like I said. And then the Nancy Grace one, and I'm like, okay, I can't believe this. And my stomach just dropped. I'm like, now I want him found for my Aunt Suzanne and his dad, because this man keeps controlling this whole interview, and it is impossible to keep up with a lie. She's having trouble keeping up with her story, so he's controlling this whole narrative. And then, everything just he would call. I watched one thing where he called, I can't remember what channel it is, and I'm not going to mention any channels, pretending to be Billy Bob Thornton from Sling Blade. And I'm like, what kind of person who's looking for their stepson does that? And then calling, and I heard him on one channel where he said something about, screaming about the PI and threatening Seth's life over something that the PI did not release. It was another channel that released it about Katie's childhood, which I felt was not right. Nobody had any business releasing that. That was her personal childhood, and that just wasn't right. That wasn't nice. It wasn't cool. And
how many of us creators would do that right now go through these kind of details about a child? I mean, at the end of the day, these things did happen. We're not going to touch on it, but these things did happen to her as a child. And those were, I mean, having some knowledge about, it might help get a history, but the details that were being
details
released,
should not be released. That was not right.
Right.
To hold up pictures, and no, that was so wrong. Yeah. And I don't care who you are. That's wrong. To dig that up and show it right on the screen, that's below low. Mm-hmm. And so then I felt I had reached the point where I'm going to do all I can, because I want to help my Aunt Suzanne find her great-grandson. Mm-hmm. And I just kept hearing these interviews, and I would see these searches, and then I would see everybody bashing Seth. And I would never hear Katie come out and say anything different, because I knew things were different back then. But she would never step up to the plate. And I hear these channels and people saying, you should be working together. I don't think it's Seth not working with them. I don't think they've ever, I think they cut him off.
They did.
And
Tony was trying to be a spokesperson for all of them for a united front.
My ex-husband and I, with our 2 children, we each had spouses at the time that just didn't like the fact if we ever talked together. But if anything happened to our children, you can bet we would have been in the same room 24/7. Find them. Find him, find her. There would have been no lack of communication. Mm-hmm. And when I was I'd listen to all of these. Now, some of them I just couldn't stand to listen to. It just got to the point. There were a few that I just couldn't tolerate for more than 5 minutes, and I'd turn it off. And I'm like, I cannot listen to this. Mm-hmm. But I would go to bed at night and just pray, let me get through another day. And then I'd do some more research, and I'd watch some more interviews. People would call in a sighting, and I think it was May 2nd, somebody called in a sighting, and immediately Chris would call in and say, yeah, I heard somebody just called and said they had a sighting, and the lady was being very politeful, and he said, well, let me give you the other end of the story. I'm Chris Proudfoot, and he was automatically debunking the sighting. Who does that?
Yeah, I remember that a couple times. You're right. I almost forgot about that.
Who does that? How do you know it wasn't a sighting? This was like in Georgia, May 2nd. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, are they just sitting there watching all of these channels? And I've heard him a few times say some of the most horrible things. Yeah. And she doesn't speak. And the final thing for me was seeing her in court. The look on her face. I cried.
Describe what you think that look meant for you.
that look on her face looked like somebody who was just so self-satisfied. Just the look of, huh. I mean, at one point, even Chris turned back to her to say something, and she just didn't even look at him, and she said something to him, and he even looked like a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh my gosh, she just looks like she is so proud of herself and the queen, and she is right where she wants to be. And it bothered me so much. And all of these channels were live casting it and just drooling over, you going to jail or whatever. And I'm like, what is going on? What I want more than anything, and I can't see the chat. I don't know what anybody's saying. Quite honestly, that doesn't bother me. What I want is for this stuff to stop and for people to light everything up green and find this boy alive, not alive, bring some closure, or bring that boy home to his dad, to his family, to his grandmother. I mean, his great grandmother. He deserves it.
Right.
And quit twisting words, quit manipulating words. I can't say for certain if anybody in my family has them. I do not believe they do. I do not believe anybody would do that.
Mm-hmm.
She does have a couple of stepsisters and like 3 stepbrothers,
Mm-hmm.
a couple in California. She does have a lot of friends and stuff down in Georgia. Maybe he is somewhere, but he will never be the same little boy. Because if he is somewhere, he's being told a whole lot of stories.
Gotcha.
And he can't hide forever, which is why I pray for Seth. I pray for Sebastian. I pray for clarity and for peace. For God's sakes, people, please. This is about Sebastian. This is not about hate.
Amen.
Quit with the hate. All of the YouTubers, just stop. All of this Facebook stuff, just stop. Just look for him.
Yeah.
And I don't, I believe Sumner County Sheriff's Department? Honest opinion? No. I've not seen one shred that makes me believe that they did anything.
Yeah.
Where I live,
That's how I feel kind of too, to be honest
where I
with
live
you.
in Virginia, that would not have taken. Well, maybe not here. I live in a good old boy town here in Washington County, Virginia. But where I grew up in Virginia Beach, that would not have happened.
Yeah. You said something, if you don't mind, I just got a couple questions. You said right where she wants to be. You guys didn't grow up with a whole lot of money, did you?
No. Lord, no. Our parents were born and raised in this little teeny town in Southwest Virginia called Damascus. They migrated to Norfolk, Virginia. We were all born and raised in the Norfolk, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach area. And our parents worked hard for what we got. We had what we needed, not a whole lot of what we wanted. And we had, none of us had money, and we had to work. I started working when I was 16, went to school. I worked at McDonald's, and I was on the field hockey team. So we had to earn our own money, but no, we did not grow up with any wealth whatsoever.
What
And
would you think about her lifestyle now?
oh Lord, that's something she's not going to leave that. A lifestyle that is like 500 times bigger and better than anything we would have ever imagined as children. More than 500. Way more.
Now, I believe you stated this, but just because I missed it, and I apologize, I don't want to rehatch anything that might be a little sensitive. But at what was the defining factor that started making you doubt the story between, about Sebastian? Was it just the interviews, or was it something else?
The interviews. One interview, it was. Well, I woke up, went in there in his bedroom to wake him up about 6:00. He wasn't there. I called Chris. I can't find him. Within he three-wayed he called Sumner County sheriffs. Within 3 minutes, the police were lined up down the street. She checked the closets and stuff, but within 3 minutes, the police were lined all the way down the street. It was specifics, details. 3 minutes, they were here. I called him. Next one, I got up, I went in his room. He wasn't there. I looked around the house, thought he might have been in the kitchen, and I'm like, no, that you would have seen that. And so I got in my car and I called him, and I was driving around and we three-wayed the sheriff's department. I'm like, wait, you just said you didn't leave home, and he was there in 3 minutes. The police were there in 3 minutes. What's this about you driving around looking and him telling you to hurry up and get home? So you ran home, or you mean you drove home? And then the no medicine, no bath, and then the thud in the last one, and the polygraphs, and it was too many lies, too many changes. And he kept controlling the interviews because every time she spoke, the story changed, and it seemed to change with what was going on online. If you compare the interviews to what people were saying online, the trash can. There was a video of the trash can. So the next story, he had chores, so I sent him out to take the trash. Well, that had been posted on video, so that was integrated into her story. And I'm like, she can't keep up with what she's told people. And I was just writing these notes, and I'm looking back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, and it was like my whole body froze. I'm like, oh my God, what have they done? What has happened? Why? And that was my question, why? And then I see those custody papers, and I knew those words were lies. They put all that on the custody papers, but then as soon as she goes back to her mother, they were in such danger from you. And I'm like, again, what is going on?
This is, I got to tell you, one of the this is a weird experience for me. I can tell you that. I don't really know what to say other than that.
I've never, I have never followed, I'm not a big YouTube follower. I don't watch these things. And, do I watch investigation discovery? Of course, every woman does, but I'm not one of those deep crime divers or anything. But I got in this because Sebastian is blood of my blood, basically. And I happen to love my Aunt Suzanne dearly. And I have been sick just watching this and seeing, they leave, they go, 2.5, 3 weeks after, not even that, he's missing. And then, he can be anywhere by now. No, as a mother, if my child, I don't care if my child was 30 years old, as a mother, I would not leave. I would have my cell phone planted to my ear. And if I wasn't home, as soon as I got home, my porch light would be on, and I I would never leave my house, much less go camping. You know, he said he had to go back to work, but he had just said that he was told not to go back until this was all done. It was lie after lie and leave the house. And they've been vacation since then. You know, she went to Myrtle Beach, you know, they've been to Louisiana. And I'm like, this is not how people with missing children behave. Apparently, you know, to me, it just, in my opinion, it's like they know he's not coming home. Because
How does that make you feel?
if I start crying now on your show, I will not stop. So I'm going to say that.
Okay.
It's sick. To me, it makes me sick.
When
I
was the
know.
last time you spoke to Francis?
Before she went away.
Okay, so you haven't spoken to her anytime recently since she's been out or
No,
otherwise?
I take that back. I did see her when my Uncle Don passed away.
Oh, so she was out at that time.
Yes.
Did Katie speak to her mother at all?
Yeah.
Do you know if they have regular communications to this day?
I can't say for certain, but it appears to me they do.
Did Sebastian speak with her at all that you saw
Yes.
at the funeral?
Yeah.
Did you ever hear rumors whether he maintained that communication with his grandmother or not?
Well, they're in, you know, Suzanne and Francis are right there together. So if they're FaceTiming, I'm sure it would be mutual.
Gotcha. So she's still, because Aunt Suzanne is one of her favorite aunts as well.
Aunt Suzanne is Katie's grandmother.
Grandma. Why do I keep mixing it up? Aunts and sorry, I apologize.
Because they're my aunts. They're my aunt and uncle.
Oh, okay, got it.
But they're Katie's grandparents.
Gotcha. So, and then that was her favorite because she was very close to her grandfather, and Aunt Suzanne was his wife.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, my Uncle Don was a wonderful, wonderful man. He could play the guitar too. See, we grew up when we were little. On Fridays, we would be a couple of my aunts and uncles, my Uncle Don and another aunt of mine, my Aunt Betty. They all lived in the same little apartment complex, and all the cousins, aunts and uncles, we'd go there, and my dad and a couple of my uncles, they would play guitar, and we would all run around the neighborhood. That was the fun night out.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was no extravagance. And all the way up, that's how we were.
Did Katie play an instrument?
I don't think so.
Okay. Does Katie have anything to do with your side of the family anymore?
She does with Aunt Suzanne, and she did go to Aunt Suzanne's wedding. I think that was in 2020 in North Carolina. She did go to that. So yeah, her aunt and uncle and Suzanne, and yeah, she does them, but she doesn't really, I guess because she left and she really doesn't know many of us anymore. I mean, they kind of tucked her away when she went to live with her dad and her aunt. They kind of tucked her away from us. I mean, when she was at Don's funeral, we had to it was like reintroducing ourselves to her. We never forgot about her. It was always, we'd see Uncle Don and Aunt Suzanne. How's Katie doing? What's she up to? And we would get updates. Oh, she's graduating. She's going to culinary school. She's doing great. And then, oh, she got married and she's moving to Georgia, or she moved to Georgia to get married. And then we found out, a year and a half later that she had had Sebastian, because her uncle and his wife, their daughter is like 3 months older than Sebastian. So they had kids the same year.
How
So
is
we
your
were
family coping with all this? Not just Sebastian's disappearance, but the craziness of this case.
silence.
Just everything. They're just
I
silent.
unnervingly silent. And I know they're paying attention to it. Now, I do know my cousin on the east coast of North Carolina, I've seen her name listed on like some Duchess things, but I don't know. I've not heard a word. No Facebook post, no nothing.
I feel like this next question is already answered, and but just to clarify, after watching Katie and her behavior in the multiple interviews, I don't want you to accuse anybody or anything like that. But do you, since her son's been missing, do you believe she's hiding something based on the behaviors you saw in those interviews?
In my opinion,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
think she's hiding a lot. And I think that Chris would probably do anything to make sure she's never able to express that all by herself with somebody. He is in control of the narrative at this point. He seems like he will protect her. And I don't think she's going to. Now, if anybody could get through to her, if she was hiding anything, it would be my Aunt Suzanne. Lord knows if my Uncle Don were alive today, I think he's probably rolling in his grave right now, but he would know. But if anybody in this family would know or could find out, it would be probably my Aunt Suzanne.
Gotcha.
But in my opinion, I think she's hiding a lot. And
Gotcha.
there's a lot to be found out, but I don't think that local law enforcement area is ever going to do that. So, and I don't think Chris will allow it.
Yeah, and you knew Seth for a little, or you've
No,
recently known Seth. You didn't know him personally when they got together or
no,
married,
I
but
have never
you
met
did
him in
know of
person.
him.
I'm only from the wedding, from him asking permission, but I've never met him. I
What do you
knew.
think about him going through everything that he's been going through
Oh
online?
my
You
gosh.
witnessing all the things that they say about him, even though you don't know him, I'm sure you still knew of him and the relationship between him and Katie. What say you about these crazy bully campaigns? These,
Oh
I
my
don't know what else
gosh.
to call them.
What say I? Um, people, I guess people have nothing better to do with their lives, but he is, he's not out there smearing the mother of his child, if Sebastian's alive, nobody wants to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
And he is getting dragged through the mud over lies. This whole grooming thing blows my mind. When I heard that, I was like, no, that's not true. And
Why do you say that?
she had a boyfriend. And this is just sickening. They're going to just because they got married when she was 18 and moved to Georgia, nobody knows what was going on at the time when they left. I do. And it's not anything I'm going to divulge because quite honestly, these were terrible things. And it's nobody's business. And I am not here to bash or talk about personal situations in her life or his life or anybody's life, because you know what? That's not what this is about.
No.
And that particular time probably was a very difficult time for Katie. But it wasn't him grooming.
You're right.
And she was over 18. No. And she graduated from Green Run High School, I know that, and was in culinary school and was a chef at a nice fancy restaurant at the oceanfront. So he's not out there bashing her. And what gets me is she's not out there correcting it because it seems like a hate mission. It seems like I'm not done ruining you yet. I could be wrong, but that's my opinion. It just seems like it's one thing after the next because there's so much that could be said that she could be saying, and we don't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Why she can't work with him, can't we all just get along? For lack of a better phrase, can't we all just get along for the sake of this beautiful little boy? And the only conclusion I can come up with is because there seems to be a total lack of concern on one side, in my opinion. And that's terrifying.
And you've been bottling a lot of stuff up. I mean, you're fairly emotional about this.
Only because it's, like I said, our family has gone through major rifts, some terrible things in the past. We really have. But we usually, we come back together. I would fight tooth and nail for my family. And I wish I was on your show right now fighting tooth and nail for my family. Now, this doxing and making up lies about my family, I will fight tooth and nail for my family. And I don't care what anybody says about me. I am just me. I'm just speaking for me. But I wish I could say there's absolutely no way she did anything. And that's what's killing me, is I can't say that. If I had different words, I would use them, I just wish everybody would just take a step back, read his name, just look at his name, and only look at his name. Stop taking the low road. Stop being dirty, hateful, nasty, and read his name. And remember, he's somewhere out there. And he needs to be brought to where he's supposed to be. And nobody's going to find him calling people ugly names or accusing people of ugly things and doxing and bashing. That's not going to work.
Not going to bring him home.
No, it's not. And hating the father and but not understanding that the father's trying and has tried to talk to the mother. There's silence on one side. Come together. Everybody, all these channels, all these creators, all these Facebook people, just stop the hate. Show some love. Say a prayer. Find him. Nobody's going to find him if everybody's just focused on hating each other and being ugly. And it's so disappointing. That day when you were in court and I was watching, I flipped it on and I think everybody had streamed court TV and they were like drooling. And I just turned it off. I was like, okay, this is the lowest anything could ever get. Nobody's talking about Sebastian. Nobody. No sense in even watching anything. Nobody is talking. First of all, there's no updates from any law enforcement. And I don't think there ever will be, other than maybe hopefully my hope came in when Dog and Nick joined in.
Yeah, I think they're a blessing because there's been so many people that have been praying for this case, and it's like, right from left field, they just swooped in. We got the 50,000 from FBI, and then the next thing we know, we got Dog and Nick. And I got to be honest with you, I was a little skeptical, but I welcome the support. I welcome their skill set. I welcome their the research team. I welcome their legal team. I mean, they just bring a lot to the table.
Just, and I keep my ears open. I send messages to family members and see what comes back. And it's just casual. And I'm like, what? So don't think I'm not still digging. I will continue to dig. I will continue to hope. And the reason for my post, again, going back to that, is because I lost faith in a member of my family. And we don't have to be close to be family. And just seeing it and doing my research and watching all the details and paying attention to the details and knowing that, okay, this doesn't make sense and that there's no way you did that. And you don't overstimulate a child and then go to bed. And I thought you slept with the dogs and you put the dogs up. You crated them. Wait, that's not what you said. And, and it was like a steady sinking into a hole. Because I truly came into this, I'm going to help Katie find that child. And it did not take me long to sink into the hole of, oh my gosh, she knows where he's at. I think she knows where he's at. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I hope it was an accident. But the more Chris talked, the more I felt I just need to focus on finding him. Because I don't think there's going to be anything from that side. And for everybody in the chat, focus on finding him. Don't focus on hating anybody. Just focus on loving that boy. Pray for his father. Pray for everybody involved. And pray for Sebastian.
Is there anything that you would like to, if you had an opportunity to say something to Seth, is there anything you would like to say to Seth?
Oh, now I'm going to cry. Wow. I cannot imagine what it would be like 24/7 wondering where your baby is. I know I wouldn't be sleeping. I probably wouldn't be eating. I would be wondering if they were eating. But take care of yourself, because when he is found, regardless, you will need your heart, body, and soul to take care of everything else. If you have got to have faith in God, love yourself, remember that sweet face, and dear God, don't give up. Don't give up your love and your hope. And no matter where he is, he knows you love him. He knows his dad. Nothing will ever change that. But take care of yourself. You're no good to anybody if you can't take care of yourself too.
Yeah.
And I am praying for you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to ask the same thing. If you had an opportunity to say anything you'd like to Sebastian, what would that be?
Oh, sweet thing. If you are out there, Lord, let us know. Find somewhere to call. Call your daddy. Call your great grandma. And if something has happened to you, your great grandpa's up there. Just, you're loved by so many more than you could ever imagine. And we're praying for you. And green's my favorite color too.
Aww. I know this has been very hard for you. Like I said, I knew that this was going to be hard coming into this. You and I have, discussed this.
Oh my God.
Is there anything that I didn't cover? Is there anything that you would like to get off your chest about this case, or about something else that I just didn't ask you, or anything?
I'm sure there's plenty, but like I said, I didn't post that expecting it to go so crazy wild,
Yeah.
but I am glad I did it. I just want people to take the focus off of themselves and to realize this isn't about old fights, new fights, bickering, whatever. It's about finding the sweet boy. And, I always thought respect was out there. And I've seen so much disrespect since March, and unwarranted disrespect. But I've also seen so much love from so many people that if we could just keep that love growing and keep looking and support Dog, support Nick, support Betty, I support you, Betty. I'm going to say that loud and clear. I have watched this from the beginning, and everything has just angered me and nobody is trying to take his name out of other people's mouths, but they're sure trying to take it out of yours.
Mm-hmm.
And his name should be in everybody's mouth, everywhere. His picture should be in everybody's mind, everywhere. It should be ingrained. It should be posted everywhere. He's missing. And he needs to come home. And that's all that matters. And
Yes. So
that's
I
why
did
I'm
want to
here.
let you know that the chat is really rooting for you.
Oh,
Yes, they stand behind you. They just wanted Ginger Girl says, please let her know the chat supports her. We admire her strength in speaking out. Dear Sebastian, we love you and can't wait to find you. Know that you matter and have a place in this world. And then we have, I can't ask that question, Justin. Justin has a question. I can't ask that question at the time being, but
I can see it on there, and I'm not going to even answer that question.
oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I hit a button on my mouse and it took me all the way back.
Oh, that's okay. But I saw that question, and I was saying I'm not even going to answer that question.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Sorry about
No.
that. And then I got back in here and I hit the same button on my mouse again. It took me back out. So
Yeah.
never had that happen before. I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Yada, I'm glad that you came here, and I thought you handled this with love. You have things that are bothering you and that are inside, and I think you handled this with grace. I appreciate you trusting me to interview you. And I didn't want to pry too much, and we did want to make sure that we were utmost respectful, but we're able to get your thoughts out there. I hope I did well. I hope you're
Oh,
pleased with the way we ran this, and I hope I didn't push too much. That wasn't my intention.
you did not. And I hope everybody knows that I am not doing any of this for me.
Right.
I'm just getting this point across, because of I made that post, and I've gotten wonderful support, and I've gotten terrible hate. And that post is because that's how I feel as being part of this family. And this isn't for me, this is for Sebastian. So, and thank you so much, Betty, for having me on here. And
Absolutely.
thank you, everybody, for listening.
Yes.
And
Thank you for coming up here, and thank you for sharing your story again. I know it was very, very, very difficult. If you want to go take a breather, I'm just going to go ahead and close out the show. I
thank
just
you.
thank you so much for giving me your time and letting me pry a little bit and letting the whole world, kind of hear your thoughts on what's been going on. So thank you so much for handling it with love and grace.
You have a blessed evening.
You too, my dear.
All of you. Good night.
God bless. Wow. I didn't know how that was going to go. I always have a list of questions, and I always try to gauge to find out, what would work Will she come back? I'm not sure, Ren. I think this was just, a situation where a post got out and a lot of people were curious. And instead of allowing the misinformation and disinformation to run wild, I think we just thought it was more appropriate just to give her a platform and allow her to explain herself. Sorry, I didn't. Let me see if I've got anything on here. And I just want to thank you all for being here. Again, the reason why we are here is for Sebastian Rogers, and we need to get focused back on him. There's a whole family that we're not even thinking about that really cares for this boy, that really wants this boy to come home. Family members we're not thinking about that are dying in their heart because they don't have answers and they want to know where their loved one is. So all of this nonsense that's been going on social media, all this hate and stuff is affecting people. Okay? It's affecting innocent people that just want to bring their family member home. So guys, we are running the campaign of lighting it up. I'm going to go through the people that were here that gifted for this. We had an overwhelming amount of new members. Thank you so much. God bless you. I do appreciate starting off with Justin for All. It's nice to have you back to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club. So Nina is a member for 3 months. We've got SW becoming the newest member of this crazy family. Only being Chris, welcome to this crazy family. So Nina gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. If you were a recipient of that membership, please don't forget to tell So Nina thank you. Mally Cat also gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your gifted membership from Mally Cat, don't forget to tell her thank you. We have IN gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. Don't forget to tell IN thank you for the gifted membership. D's Mystery Obsessed, Super Proud Coffee Bean, hashtag Sebastian's Army. Thank you for that. Our beautiful Little Fig, better known as Elfig, has gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your gifted membership, please don't forget to tell her thank you. And we've got Debbie with 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. Thank you so much. Again, if you received that, wow, we got a lot. Super Jen, thank you for yours. If anybody received any of your gifted memberships, Serenity, thank you, my love. I appreciate that. Groovy Gal, always around, always my pal. Became a member of our crazy crew, but she's already been a member for a while. So she's been part of the family for a while. Okay. She's just making it official. Udi, it's nice to see you, the newest member of this crazy crew. Brenda, God bless you. Stacy gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership and became one as well. We've got in with Sebastian Rogers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The national spokesman, Tony Mathis, very brave, Yeda. I wish you could see all of this love in the chat. Thank you so much for reminding us. Our beautiful Ginger gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership along with Michelle. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from either of those, please tell them thank you. Thank you so much. Little Red, God bless you. I appreciate that. Only Being Chris says, Dear Sebastian, we love you and can't wait to find you. Know that you matter and have a place in this world. That's beautiful, in this world. Carolina Nana, please ask her what she thinks about 3. Oh, I didn't ask her that. I will find out, Carolina, and I'll let you know. I'm sorry. I tried to read through these to see if there was any questions. I'm super sorry I missed it. If Yeda's in the chat, maybe you can answer that. They're wanting to know what you think about the bite marks, what appears to be bite marks and or scratches on Chris's arm, and that would have been the green shirt interview that he had done on March 4th. Ginger, please let her know this chat supports her. We admire her strength in speaking out. Thank you. Millie, thank you so much. Justin for All said, what message would she have? Oh, yeah, it's going to be kind of hard because of the. I can't ask her that. That could be misconstrued as indirect. I'm like, I'm already hearing the shackles coming for me. Holly, thank you so much for your gifted membership. Thank you, Betty and Yeda. This means so much and has cleared up so much. I'm glad you guys got some stuff out of this. Ren, I don't know. She's always welcome back anytime. I just wanted to make sure, I know how scary this was for her, and I just wanted to make sure that we were able to be very respectful and try to, give her a voice. Give her a voice. Ginger says, excellent job, BHB. Thank you for all you do. Thank you, Yeda. Thank you. Thank you. Sebastian Strong, Grace Upon Grace, gifted 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. Althea, it's nice to see you. Welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, along with Castle. Thank you. Likewise. Thank you, Betty. Thank you. You're welcome. Spicy Disaster. Thank you. Oh, Della. Thank you so much for gifting 1 Bullhorn Betty membership. Don't forget to tell all of our gifters thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Trishy, thank you for being a newest member of this crazy crew. Along with In the Dax, thank you for your beautiful membership as well. Lisa, thank you for your gifted membership. Diane says, I have the utmost respect. Oh, thank you for you. Mr. and Mrs. E. Crime Cast, God bless you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I do appreciate. Ruby, thank you for gifting a membership. Yvette, thank you for being the newest member of the Crazy Crew. Althea, nice to see you. And lastly, we have Bad Actors. Betty, you look gorgeous, and your interview was authentic and very well done. Thank you guys so much for being here. I appreciate. I guess I'll find out the report card whether we had good adults in here or bad adults in here. Okay. But from everything I saw, it seemed like you guys were mostly on your best behavior, and even my haters out there, if you were on your best behavior, I do appreciate it. So thank you so much. I just want you guys to know just how hard it was for Yeda to come here and speak. This is her family, this is her life as well. And it's when something like this happens, this can be so intrusive. So we just really thankful that we got a little insight. I hope there was some information you guys were all able to take away from this that might help you understand a little better. Anyways, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Bullhorn Betty channel. I appreciate all of you being here. Please don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another. God bless.